Welcome to your 30s. You're going to love it. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Life at 30. Joining me today, I have a few friends. What is up, my 30 plus crew? How are y'all?
Hello.
Hey.
Phenomenal.
Awesome. So go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell me your name and your badge of honor, aka your age.
Hi, I am Brittany, and I am 33 years old.
Yay! Adriana,
aka Yuvia, and I'm 33 years old.
Yay! Missy.
Hey, this is Chris. 32.
Lily.
Hi, this is Lily. I'm 32.
Yay! Last but not least,
I'm Bernie. I am 33.
First of all, tell me, are 30s the new 20s? How do you feel?
Ooh.
That's a heavy one. That's a loaded question.
I don't want it to be the 20s. It's the best.
Yeah, I think that's a lie. 30s being the new 20s. Like, I like the statement of 30s are your 20s, but with money. Like, I like that. But like, if we're being real, in my 20s, I was out all night. In my 30s, I'm in bed by 9. So like,
very true. Very
not
true.
Yeah, I was more active.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, would you say life is better in your 30s?
Yes, for me.
How so?
Definitely financially and the ability to enjoy the smaller things, the little things, and not having to die out of a hangover the next day.
Yes, yes. That's a big one.
I don't necessarily think that my 20s were not the best and my 30s. I mean, I'm 32. I enjoyed my 20s a lot. I did what I wanted to do. And I think now the only difference now it's that I'm more like cautious about certain things that I do. But I don't necessarily think that it's the greatest thing because the 20s were still pretty good too.
Yeah, and that's important to recognize that just because we are in our 30s, for example, like I'm like 6 years in, right? Like I think I want to say I'm older than everybody in the group. And though it's been a fantastic 6 years, I can't deny that 20s had really good things as well, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Lily, Bernie, what do you guys think? Is life better at 30?
Oh, significantly. I don't have to depend on a Taco Bell dollar burrito to survive anymore. That's all I could afford in my 20s, you know? So food choices have improved significantly. But to what you were saying earlier with the whole our 20s to new 30s, I really did think about that because I was like, well, what are we comparing at that point? You know, if I think about 20s, I think about partying and working to have a comfortable 30s. So is that truly comparable? Because I don't think I'm trying to live the same lifestyle I did in my 20s.
And that's honestly, that's a great point because it is completely different. And that's for a lot of us, I know that we're doing completely different things than what we did in our 20s, right?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, I agree totally with Bernie. I think I was more into like partying, clubbing, and drinking and all this stuff, right? Having a good time. I was more active also in like sports. I will be out playing and running and all this stuff. Now in my 30s, if we can compare the 2 years that I've been in my 30s, right? I've been less active, and now we're in a pandemic. I never experienced a pandemic either. So COVID was a big impact in my life as well. Because in my 20s, I was okay, sort of like financially, maybe not where I really wanted to be. But with this pandemic, I was affected financially and also emotionally. So my 30s have not been the best years of, yet. Not
Yeah, and I can totally feel what Lily's saying as well, because back in my 20s, I was able to escape to different places or with people in general. And when COVID hit, definitely I felt the heaviness of, looking at myself and reflecting on the things that I've been doing or I haven't done. So definitely, yeah. I don't necessarily think that the 30s are worst or not the best, but for me as of right now, I'm still trying to figure it out as well.
Yeah, and I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the 30s is a different stage of our lives completely. I don't think that there is a comparison, right? We can all agree with that. Like Chrissy was saying, in your 20s, you're partying, you're running essentially, and you're not like sitting. And that's one of the things that I've always said in my 30s. In your 30s, you literally get to sit with yourself and you reflect and you feel, right? And so it's definitely different. But I do have to say that even though with having to feel all those things and not necessarily being the funnest of the times, I am very much in a better place in my life as a whole in my 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think partying, it was a great deal for me because I love dancing and I'm very, social butterfly at some times. But right now, I actually enjoy other things like having brunch with friends, like house gatherings, like, little parties here and there, or let's just go out to eat. Who wants a coffee date or something like that? That is actually meaningful because it's just, you actually have grown conversations with our friends. Like, how are you doing? Like, financially, socially, mentally. Oh, you can have actually important grown conversations with the persons that you actually care instead of like, hey, let's just go out and get drunk and have fun. It's a type of fun. And I think it's a positive thing for me.
I was gonna say though, do you think that we have a various range of 30s, right? And believe it or not, a year makes a difference. So we have two that are 32 that are very similar to what they're saying. And not that it makes a huge difference, I guess, because I'm 33, right? But I feel like it does start changing. And then you said you're probably, 36, Anna? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You're probably at another stage in your 30s.
Right.
But I feel
Right.
like they're getting in that graph to where they're going to start feeling more of their 30s and maybe understanding where we're coming from a little bit more. Because not that our 20s were bad, of course not. I think there's a lot of experiences we all have to go through to get to where we are.
Yeah.
And not necessarily the worst, but there are things that I wish I did in my 20s, because I feel like I didn't party as hard till the end of my 20s. And I wish I would have done it before. I would have done it like when I was 21, 22, and I didn't. I did when I was 28. So they're fresh in my mind right now.
Yeah, and I think that that's like really important. That's kind of why I wanted to start this, because even though we could be at the same age, honestly, we are in that same age. We've all had different life experiences, right? Like you said, you started partying at 28-ish, and I literally started partying probably at the age of 19. So even though we could be at the same age, our past experiences, our life before our 30s have been completely different.
For sure.
Yeah.
Stopped partying at 24. So,
Girl, you're like, I had enough of this. It was good while it lasted. I'm done. Thank you. Hanging up the rope. Is that what it was?
I mean, kind of. I've always been an old soul though. So, I had a different 20s experience than most 20-year-olds, I feel. I just never really was into partying. I had like a year where I went hoard. Okay. And then after that, I was like, I'm good. I'm so done.
So in that 1 year, you probably partied for like the whole 10 years of your 20s.
I did.
Yeah.
I really did. I really, really did. Yeah.
You get it out of your system.
I did. I went so hard. It was sad. It was pretty intense. Like, whoo-wee. And like, I feel like I agree with Juvia and the fact that like everybody has a different 20s experience on top of the fact that like the 33-year-olds are like feeling the same vibe, whereas the 32-year-olds are feeling the same vibe. And then we have a 36-year-old, the oldest, having like a totally different vibe.
Thanks.
Right. And then for me, I feel like my 30-year-old situation, like I found myself in my 30s. In my 20s, I was so lost, where I feel like a lot of people in their 20s are too. Sometimes, not always, but they are like just running amok, you know, and being reckless and not necessarily making the best choices. And in my 30s, I found who I was, who I always was meant to be. And although for me in my 30s, I wish I was 20 still, because I have all these ailments now in my 30s, which I'm like, what is that about? But I still am, I would prefer still being in my 30s over my 20s overall.
And it's funny that you say that you found yourself at your 30s, because not too long ago I was talking to, you know, one of my friends, and I was like, dude, I don't know why, but I feel right now that back in my 20s I was more centered than right now. Like right now I don't even know what the hell is going on in my head. Like it's who the fuck I am, where am I going? Like, you know, it's kind of crazy that you say that you found yourself at your 30s, because for me, the more I think about it, I feel that, I guess because I didn't really pay attention much, I don't know, but I feel that I was more like myself back then. But then again, I think about it, like we're changing constantly. So I guess right now I'm going through a change like that I never thought that I would go through. And because now I pay attention to all those things, I'm being more aware. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, and that goes to like everybody having a different journey, you know. I also feel like in our 20s, we're not necessarily thinking about who are we and, you know, who are we meant to be. I think we're more so just living in the moment and embracing what's happening in that exact second, as opposed to thinking about the future and thinking about what we potentially want for ourselves. It really is just living every day to the fullest. And that's one of the beauties of being in your 20s, in your 30s, which I know we'll get to, is, you know, what am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be acting? What am I supposed to be doing with my life?
Yeah.
And you actually have to stop and like think about that. And you're like, ooh, girl, I don't know. Hold on.
You know, I had a moment too where I don't know, I guess it hit me a little bit when I was in my 30s, because I didn't know what to wear. I was like, is this like 20s? Like, am I trying to look young? Or should I be wearing more mature, you know, like work environment type of clothes? Like, I was like, oh my God. Then I feel like I look like a grandma and I don't feel comfortable. But then if I put like shorts, I'm like, I look too young, or is this too much? You know, I'm like, but I'm 32. I'm like, oh my God, like all these thoughts will come into my head. Like, how am I supposed to dress?
Girl, same.
Let's talk about that. Is that us trying to stick to what society says should be normal?
Yep. So that was one of the questions, right? So have you guys experienced societal norms, pressure, and how do you guys deal with it, right? I know for a fact that like there are certain standards as to what you should be doing or who you should be by your 30s. But we also put pressure on ourselves. Like Lily said, right? She actually thought, hey, am I okay wearing this? Like, should I change? And I don't necessarily think that somebody told her that. I think it's her own mind telling us this is what we should be doing based off of what we see in society. So
I used to rock PacSun, man. I was like hardcore PacSun.
Guilty.
Now, whenever I pass PacSun, I'm like, girl, no ma'am. I am Ann Taylor Loft. Okay. I am the Loft.
I have to actively avoid PacSun and Hot Topic now.
Yes. Right. Like nostalgia. Nostalgia kicking in. I'm like, that was so me.
No, but it's so true to this whole thing because just very similarly to what Lily was saying, I literally had the thought of, I am 32, obviously not this year. I am 32. I don't need to wear booty shorts anymore, you know? So I got rid of all of them, but guess what? I still wear weightlifting shorts that show as much skin. I still wear bathing suits that show as much skin, but it is literally the wearing a certain type of shorts out in public because you typically see people of a certain age acting a certain way, wearing those same types of things.
Yeah.
And that should not have influenced my decision, but I did. And I will be honest, I don't have any and I don't want any because I feel too old to wear them.
Well, let me comment about that. So there is a time, you guys, I know that I'm kind of petite. So I was wearing some booty shorts, right? And I could see a little bit of cellulite in my legs. And I freaked out. I was like, I had never had cellulite in my life. And I'm like, what is this? Like, oh my God, I feel like I need to hide him.
Get out of the chat. Get out of the chat right now.
Nope, that happened. I felt it, you know, it's just little things like, okay, today, you know, I'm been gaining a little bit of weight, not that much. So I felt like some low handles on the side. And I was like, what is this? So
Get out of the chat. What?
wait. And let's talk about gray hairs. Come on.
Oh, please.
I don't have
Yes.
yet.
I have them. I love them.
Oh, I love them too. I literally have maybe 6 that you counted, Britt, right? 6, and I'm like so proud of them. I'm like, yes, this is my knowledge kicking in. I have 6 gray hairs. I'm all about my
Her
sick little
wisdom whites.
knowledge.
Her
Yes,
wisdom-
my wisdom grays.
I
Let's
may
talk
or may
about
not have
them.
done.
Yeah, I
think-
had a hard time, to be honest, when I got gray hairs. I had a hard time accepting that I was getting old. I was like, oh no, like I just like almost cried, and I was like, no, you know, I was so afraid of like getting the gray hairs, and then I started like getting some here, and then now I have more here, and I'm like, they're coming. The pressure is like right there. You're getting older. Oh no.
But
you
you
know-
know, you're only supposed to get like white hairs whenever you have kids, okay? Or after you reach like the 50 mark, maybe 45.
No, not
So
at
those are
all.
the norms, right?
Those are the
Right,
norms.
those are the norms.
Right.
Okay, and then
Like,
you know,
I'm 33. There should be no whites in my head. None.
which is also another reason why I wanted to do this project. I mean, honestly, there's so many things that are said of what you need to be doing with your life at this age, right? And I think that changing that mentality, and whoever watches this on YouTube, you know, I just want everybody that is going through their 30s to know, like, you don't have to feel afraid of having white hairs. You don't have to feel afraid of, you know, noticing that your body's changing. It's okay. Changing that mentality, I think, helps with transitioning, right, from your 20s to your 30s. But then most importantly too, because I'm more on the 40 side, right? And I need to already be okay once I hit 40 to be okay with myself, right? So it is definitely a decade of change, but I think that it's important for us to talk about it, for us to embrace it, for us to change our mentality, right? And then not, you know, just not think of what everybody else says we should be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what you said there too, though, being aware of your body, being aware of your changes. I don't think I've ever felt more comfortable in my body, for those of you that may have known me in my 20s, than now. Because you become aware of your changes and how do I change what I don't like? You know, Lily mentioned little love handles. I don't know what she's talking about, but you know, then hit the gym,
Nobody
grab
does.
some weights. You know, there's only, in my opinion, if you want to do it, you're going to find the time, whether it's 5 minutes in the morning, whether it's 10 minutes in the afternoon, you're going to do something to change that. you know?
Absolutely.
I ain't gonna lie, I love eating and I love bread, you know, and there's a reason why I looked the way I looked in my 20s. But, you know, if you really want to be comfortable in your own skin, you got to work for it, you know? So you got to either play recreational sports or stop hitting the bread like I was, drink more water. And
No more
you know,
cervezas.
I experienced my first knee ache. Okay. I had never experienced that pain.
Welcome to the
dying.
club. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
I was dying. I was like, what is this? Like, no. And guess what? I'm drinking more vitamins. I'm making sure there's calcium in my body. I don't care. And I'm not ashamed of it.
And you know
Because
what?
I want to wear short shorts, appropriate ones. And but I want to feel comfortable in my skin, even in my 30s.
Yeah, definitely. That's super important. And I'm glad that you said that, because Bernie made a comment on one of the Monday stories that I do on the Life at 30 Instagram page. She mentioned about investing, right? And it's really that. I've noticed in my 6 years of my 30s, I've invested in myself so much more than what I did in the past, right? I've invested time at the gym. I'm invested in like little things for your face. You think twice about the type of decisions that you're making with food, right? So talk about that. That's super important. I mean, your 30s are literally for investing in yourself. Yes, water.
Agua.
That's something
Hydration.
to work on.
But you'll start noticing things, right? You start
Yeah.
noticing the little things like, okay, maybe I need to stay off eating 10 Snickers because I would eat them like it was, I don't know, like crazy.
And we all
but
know in our 20s, we can eat them, no problem, right?
Everything.
Like,
Exactly.
yes.
Your metabolism is not the same.
It's not.
No.
I used to live at Whataburger. Are you kidding? Oh my God.
Jack in the
2 a.m.
Box.
They stayed
What's my-
open because of you, girl.
They did. That was my heaven right there. I used to eat so much.
So
And
listen,
also-
Chocolate ice cream, the pints.
Yeah, the pints from Baskin
I would
Robbins.
eat the whole pint.
Absolutely. Totally would. Yeah. I'd be like,
Yes.
I would like a whole pint of that. Thank you. I'm gonna eat it tonight.
Mhm.
Whatever. I also like, because you were saying like noticing things about your body, like as you go into your 30s and needing to actually like do something about it because you're not easily able to like just bounce back. In my 20s, I had like baby ass soft skin. You know what I'm talking about? Like that kind that you're just like, oh my God, that's the softest skin I've ever touched. And then now my skin's like hella dry. And I know it's because I drank 0 water in my 20s. 0. Water was not a thing. I didn't have any of that. And now like I am having to chug water on a daily. So
Mine is because I don't put lotion on enough. And I was recently told that I need to put more lotion on. I'm working on it. That's on my to-do list every morning and night.
if it makes you feel any better at all, Britt got me to just recently start buying moisturizer for my face, and I'm 36, so you're already ahead of me.
and
Yes.
face scrub. That's
And face
specifically
scrub,
for the
that's right.
face. Don't use body soap to wash your face.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, you don't use
Spend
the
it-
soap for everything?
No. No.
There's no.
Body soap is for your body. Face soap is for your face.
She's like, my face is part of my body. What do you mean?
I mean, no, not the same towel for everything either.
Towel, yes. Towel is fine. Okay, because you wipe your face first with the towel and then the body. Don't be wiping your
Okay.
ass and then bring it up to your face.
She's telling you how to do it.
I mean, I thought it was up, down. I mean, down, up.
No. Oh,
I'm kidding, Britt.
Chris.
Well, that took a turn real fast.
Yes.
So listen, guys, I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time to talk about how life is currently in your 30s. We're going to do this again. Before we run out of time, I do want to say, give us some examples of some of the favorite things in your 30s right now.
I love being able to travel.
That's yes. Yes, I have traveled in my 30s more than I ever did in my life, probably. Yep.
I love not feeling like I have to go out or I'm going to be so lame. I love
Yes.
making my couch like a permanent spot for my behind and not feeling
Yes.
ashamed of that. Like,
Yes.
because in my 20s, I felt like it's Friday and I'm sitting on my couch. I'm such a loser. I have no friends.
Like right now in
Yeah.
our 20s, if you would be doing a Zoom meeting, you'd be like, bro, I can't do a Zoom meeting. I gotta go party. Like I gotta get ready.
It's a Friday night.
Yeah,
bye.
bye.
Yes, I do like that. I am completely content with doing what I want when I want and not feeling obligated to like have to do anything that I don't want to do.
Exactly.
Absolutely. For me, I have to say it probably has to be the stability part of life. For the majority of my life, I've never had stability, whether if it was with a partner or with my family, a house. And my 30s have been pretty stable. I've worked really hard at being stable. So I think that has to be my favorite part so far of my 30s. And last but not least, what are some things I know that, for example, like Chrissy and Lily, you guys are 32, you still have a while to go. But what are some things that you guys want to accomplish before leaving your 30s?
For me, definitely, I want to finish RN. I want to become an RN, and that is a goal that I've been trying to work for the longest. And it hasn't been easy, but I know what I want, and I don't see myself doing anything else. So I'm really pushing this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And know that you can do it. Another thing to erase from our minds is that whenever you're 30, you're too old for blank. You're not too old. You're never too old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in I wasn't as focused as I wish I was now. I am now, but I mean, I was just living it up.
Yeah.
But now more about me, which has never been about me.
Absolutely.
So one of that I enjoy now, I would say that I love this, that I do put myself first and I do things for me now. So, and I take care. And I think that that's what these 2 years I've learned to do, like to love myself and care of myself.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
Before I
really,
end my 30s. Oh, go Bernie.
I was going to say it's really interesting the way Chris phrased that, because I do feel like I was putting myself first in my 20s, but in a very different form of selfishness that I do now. And I'm trying to still work through that, because I'm like, it comes down to there was no intentionality behind the decisions I made other than a snap. Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a response. I'm going to enjoy it right now. And then you deal with the consequences later. And you can make that phone call from jail or whatever, but
no matter what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But I really like how you phrased that, Chris, and
Yep.
go get it. You can do it.
Yes. So in your
The
30s,
only thing you can't
be
do,
intentional.
yes. The only thing you can't do in your 30s that there is a time limit on is joining the military. So, and I think you're out.
I'm okay
I
with
think
that.
they changed those rules.
Oh.
Yuvia, I think we're gonna mention something.
Oh, just before ending my 30s, I want to be self-employed, fully self-employed, because I guess you can say I'm part-time, but
Yes.
fully self-employed. Yes.
Woohoo!
Independent. I love it. Lily?
I want to. No, it's not. I want to. I'm going to focus more on my art.
Nice.
Yes.
And maybe, hopefully within time, have my own business as well. But what I really, really want, I think, is have stability and also work on myself a lot. Like, I guess what I want to say is kind of like reevaluate my life. I think I'm not at the place where, Brittany said, I found myself in my before my 30s, and I know who I was. I think throughout this time that I've been a little lost and here and there and just going through a lot of changes throughout my life, where I want to actually just take this time to focus literally on me and who I want to be, what I want to do, and where I want to get. So within that time, hopefully, I do want to have a place of my own, let's say my house, and have to love me entirely for who I am and love me
Absolutely.
for the things that I do and how I grew from the past to the present. So that's mainly what I really want to accomplish in my 30s.
8 years, baby. 8 years. Let's go.
Yes. Britt, what you got?
Oh, by the time I'm 40, I would really like to love me in entirety. Yes, I would like to love every aspect of who I am, what I am, how I look, how I feel. I want to love every imperfection of me. Yes.
Amen. Yeah.
Yes.
You're beautiful,
Perfect.
Brittany, inside and out.
So thank you again for joining. We will do this again. And this has been the first episode of Life at 30.
Yay.